Welcome to Podracers, the podcast where we talk about, just all that pop culture stuff. We talk about Justin Bieber, we're talking about Jaden Smith, we're talking about the Kardashians. We love talking about pop culture.
That's right, we do.
It's almost all that we talk about. My name is Sam Fickman.
I'm John Barrett.
Now here's a fun little thing going on here, Podracers. I'm going to let y'all in on a little secret. John's drunk as hell. John's a little 3 sheets to the wind.
John makes Sam look like Sam makes...
He's literally hiccuping like a cartoon that fell into like an alcohol... Like if a cartoon mouse fell into like a vat of beer and then came out like hiccuping. Or
Listen!
Don't blow out our levels now.
Yeah.
Okay. So, John... Oh, spilling water all over the floor. All over our wires, too. John, there's so much water on the floor.
I'm gonna die of AIDS.
John thinks he's gonna die of AIDS. So, Podracers, welcome to episode 7. This is. Last week we had our good friend Gabby Dunn on the podcast.
Gabby Dunn was on episode 6.
6. So this is a new pod race for a new day. This is a new segment. Naming streets. I wanna. And here's the song. I wanna freak in the sheets. I'm gonna name some streets. All right, La Cienega. All right, that's the end of the segment. I just had a freak in the sheets. You heard me name some streets. Whew, that was a good segment. Really think we were strong there.
I
think we
agree.
came together. All right, what was your question that made no sense?
What are your thoughts about the signs that go up?
M. Night Shyamalan sign.
Yeah, what do you feel about M. Night Shyamalan signs?
I think it's a great movie. I think people shit on him all the time, but I think people overlook that is actually a very entertaining movie.
Alright, so then...
And they complain the aliens look dumb. It's, who cares? It's the aliens. They're not gonna... You're always gonna be disappointed if he's not gonna show you the aliens till the very end. What do you want the aliens to look like? All aliens now look like spiders. They always do that big spider thing, the Cloverfield monster. He gave us aliens. They were green. They couldn't deal with water. They went to a fully water planet. They were dumb aliens. But whatever. The guy got to invent aliens for us? It was an entertaining movie. That family was realistic. I like the dynamic between Joaquin Phoenix and those children. It was a good movie.
Ladies and gentlemen
of the jury, I attest. I submit that M. Night Shyamalan, even The Village, I'll defend.
I'll defend The Village for sure.
Who are we defending it against then?
No one. I like The Village.
Here's a segment called Agreeing on the Village. I'm gonna rape and pillage. We're agreeing about The Village. I think The Village is a pretty good movie. It's pretty entertaining, and I like Joaquin Phoenix and Bryce Dallas bring some good heat, and I think that twist at the end, won't say it, is it's genuinely like, what? So, yeah, why not?
I like The Village, more than I like Unbreakable.
Ooh, okay. Controversial opinion. Very boring conversation. But controversial. Hey, you could be controversial.
Hey, fuckers! I like...
John.
I'm really drunk.
You could be controversial and boring. That's what we're learning. So what?
Fuck The Village. The Village is for queers.
All right, we're going to cut that.
At what point are we going to cut that? Because, I said some shit. I'm also drunk.
I would like to do a new segment.
Do a new segment?
Actually, it's an old segment.
What?
John, please.
Okay.
Little John? Okay. Reading time. You asked me earlier if I was a reader. Time for the Podracers' favorite segment. Hey! You got your Corona, mix it with lime. You're about to have reading time. So, we've been reading. So, I like to read. Blah, blah, blah. I'm a big reader. I put a word together and you make a sentence. You put a couple words together, you read them, you got a sentence. You got some letters, you make a word. Anyway, rambling. Bad podcast host. We're reading. I like to read. I feel more accomplished when I read.
That is true.
That is true about me. And I would like to read to you. I feel like it would help you. So if you've been keeping up with us, we're reading a book called The Hobbit.
Have you heard of this book? Read. readers.
It's a little famous. They've made 3 movies about it.
Well, they made 2 so far.
Well, no, John. They made one in the 70s.
Right, okay.
So they've made 3 already.
Everything before the 90s doesn't count.
Most things before the 90s don't count. But we're from before the 90s. Do we count, John?
You don't, I do.
All right, so I'm going to read the next... So the thing is, I'm going to read a sentence from The Hobbit each week. By the end of it, we'll be done at some point. And then we will move on. So let's get into it. Last time on The Hobbit, in a hole in the ground, there lived a hobbit. I'm the boss of this family. I will take vengeance through fire and ice. These we gotta take down Jersey. The Sopranos, they go too far. I'm the heir of Casterly Rock. If you're looking for justice, you've come to the wrong place. Now, on The Hobbit. Dun 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 dun. The door opened onto a tube-shaped hall like a tunnel. A very comfortable tunnel without smoke, with paneled walls and floors tiled and carpeted, provided with polished chairs and lots of pegs for hats and coats. The Hobbit was fond of visitors. All right, so next week on The Hobbit, Tony he's not vindictive.
I don't even know.
No more Butchie. No more of this. All right, these are... Tune in tomorrow. You've just watched The Hobbit on HBO Presents. You just had some Coronas, mixed it with lime. We just had reading time. All right, John, that was the end of that segment. And I think that one is only getting stronger with each week.
No, you're right.
No, I might be wrong, actually.
That's false.
I've been obsessed with this thought lately.
Okay.
Maybe you know this because I've been tweeting about it a lot. But I used to be a craft services person, and for one film, I was. If you don't know what that is, somebody on a movie or TV show has to set up food for the crew. A crew has to eat. They're working long hours.
Do you think this might have something to do?
Yeah. Go on. Don't give dead air.
With.
Yeah.
To catch a predator.
Well, that's where I'm getting to. I'm a little obsessed. Well, I have a story maybe I want to tell the Podracers about.
Please do!
Okay.
I'm so sorry. It's
okay. Just, you keep drinking that water there.
Please, because...
Podracers, to keep you up to date on Watergate. Their water is still on the ground near the wires, and John is still very drunk.
I went to Davy Wayne's tonight.
Davy Wayne's, a 70s themed bar in Los Angeles. Maybe you've heard of it. Pretty famous city. I don't know.
It's right by... Let's just be real with the pod.
My weed store? Get your wet hand away from me. John attempted to give me a high five, and I was not at all on board. Very rarely actually want to high five you, John.
Oh my god. The Podracers would figure that out if they hadn't... If they paid attention at all, they'd
You've
be
been moistening your hands in this...
Wait a minute. There's a pause every couple of seconds. What's happening? And then, I'm going to tell you, Podracers, here's what's happening. I go to extend a high five to Sam, and he looks at me like I'm holding my dick to him.
It was moist.
It was my hand.
It was wet. You've been fingering this water on the ground, which, by the way, like I keep mentioning, a lot of wires. All right. I was a craft services guy, Podracers. I had to set up a craft services table. Got your red vines, got your peanuts, got your chips, got your sandwiches if I was in the mood, which I never really... I was a horrible craft services guy. But they had a very small budget. And I have actually a fun story to tell about that.
Please.
There was a lot of famous people in this movie, and by famous people, I mean...
Billy Crystal?
No, I wish Billy Crystal was on it. Well, I don't want to get into it. Don't name drop. Billy Crystal's good. That would have been amazing compared to... Anyway, I'm obsessed with the fact that shows like To Catch a Predator...
Okay.
Or Cheaters...
Oh my god.
These shows had to have had craft services people.
I mean, at least with...
There's a crew. You have to feed the crew. That means it was somebody's job on To Catch a Predator to feed the crew, which means that somebody had to set up a pop tent around like the corner because they couldn't let the sexual predators, like somebody's driving up like, oh, I'm going to rape a child, and somebody's job is to be like, ooh, I have to make sure to keep these red vines out of sight of this rapist, or we're going to ruin the shot. I don't know. Just wanted the Podracers to have that to mull over. Martin mull over. Anyway.
So, Sam.
Please. Oh, boy. Oh, my God. So, this... Okay. Update Podracers. John almost just tipped over his second glass of water. But he saved it. Still, the ground is wet. Back to Watergate.
Praise Jah.
Walter Cronkite. Here's my Walter Cronkite impression. I'm not a crook. Okay. John, let me pose you a question.
Please do.
What do you want to talk about?
I wanted...
Still got the hiccups.
I
the
do.
entire podcast you've had them. Podrace! Why am I doing this?
I've been drinking since 17 hours ago.
That's insane, if that's true.
That's
You've been drinking for 17 hours today?
That is not true.
17 hours is an insane amount of hours. What do you want to talk about? Wait, have you really been drinking for 17 hours? It's about midnight. That means you've been drinking since... 12 hours ago would be 12, then 5 hours before that would be 7?
That is untrue.
7 a.m.?
I woke up at like 10.
Okay, so...
Then I went up to the store.
Okay, new segment. New
segment!
Like Training Day, the movie, where it takes place in the course of a day. We are going to count John's day. So he acts kind of super gay. We're talking about John's day. Okay, boom, new segment. Great song, feeling confident, feeling refreshed, I showered, I'm happy with that song. Really think that song went well. Okay. Your day.
Oh boy, you are not going to be happy. You're not going to be happy where this goes from the beginning, Sam.
You've had hiccups for over 20 minutes.
Yeah, that's true.
Why don't you take 9 sips of water? That always cures it.
All right.
All right, Podracers, back to Watergate. John is lifting up the water. He is refusing to sit up because he could drink laying down like a magician. Oh, he is heaving his body up. Podracers, John is now sitting on his butt and sitting up. He is leaning down. First sip of water is in. He's only... Okay, that was 1. We are at 1. There's a... Podracers, we have a burp. John, mischievous smile, holding it up. He doesn't have near enough water to complete the 9 sips at the rate he's going. Be careful, John. All right, sip number 2, and most of the water is now gone. Okay, he leans back, another burp. John, can you get 6 more sips, 7 more sips?
No.
All right. I think we've disappointed the Podracers enough today. So I guess we should talk more about pop culture.
Yeah.
Our favorite thing to talk about.
Please shout while I get more water.
Okay, John is going to go get more water. John is stumbling over to the bathroom. Or now he's in the kitchen. John is opening up the refrigerator. This is thrilling radio. All right, you know what? I'm going to tell a spooky story while we wait. Submitted for your approval by the Midnight Society. I call this story the Tale of the Missing Hand. So, Leonard Smith was a 13-year-old boy, like most 13-year-old boys, in that he was growing faster than he knew how. And one day he woke up and he didn't have a hand. And then he was fine, though. He learned to live without a hand. All right, John is back, and he is spilling a ton of water on the ground. Back to Watergate.
I suck at this.
John, you are bad at this. Okay, so I want this to be the centerpiece of the pod race today. We're going to have a fan mail segment.
Oh,
we have fan mail. John, stop.
Sorry.
We have fan mail. And it's not all positive.
Oh, boy.
It's not all positive, but we're going to read it on air. Okay?
Okay.
So, And I have to sing, right?
Yep.
I would prefer not to, but to be
You started this.
yes. Fan mail. Snail. Nail. Pale. In a wider shade of pale, we're talking about fan mail. Okay,
Turns a wider
John. Here we go.
shade of pale.
From Poop Sushi. From Poop Sushi.
Okay.
Our first from an internet person named Poop Sushi. Who's naming these people? What are these? Who are our fans?
I have a feeling that it might not be
From
them.
Poop Sushi.
Okay.
Dear Podracers.
All right, that's us.
And he puts Podracers in quotes like he's judging us.
He
I've
is
been a loyal listener of the Podracers for 6 weeks, and I have to say it's losing its steam.
Okay.
What started out as a fun and frivolous pod race has devolved into a self-indulgent John fest. John is so loud
Okay.
and so annoying
Not
that
true.
it burns my ears and I want to kill myself. Now, I'm a self-admitted Sam fan, hashtag Sam fan, so I know that there might be a bias here. But I gotta say that this John character is starting to really turn me off. This pod race is going into the trash. Alright. Okay, so should we address that?
Well,
Poop sushi.
let me ask Poop Sushi a question.
Yeah.
Hey!
Well, okay, Poop Sushi, if you're listening, John is going to address these complaints, I guess, as it were, if you will. As it were, if you will. As it were.
Hey, Poop Sushi.
Yeah.
If you're, do you have an email address? Poop
He
Sushi?
actually left an email address, poopsushi@yahoo.com.
Alright. Poopsushi@yahoo.com.
Sure.
Why don't you come at me?
John is throwing down the gauntlet.
So come at me. jduganbarrett@gmail.com.
Alright, we have another one. At Bud the Wiser. Like, I guess none the wiser, but Budweiser.
Oh.
Bud, it's kind of clever.
Cool.
Hey guys, I've been a loyal pod racer for 6 weeks.
Whoa!
Yeah, what do you want in the metal, Bud the Wiser?
You've been listening.
Okay. And I have to say that I love it. It's my favorite pod race ever. Sam is clever, kind, and cool. And he spelled them all with K's. He also knows how to sing a song.
Okay.
He has a pretty voice, and President Obama and him would be best friends. But I have to say that there's one thing about this pod race that is more of a finished in last place. What? I don't even know what that means. Finished in last place race, and that is this John guy. John sounds like a monster. Him and Smog would probably be best roommates. President Obama would probably be mean to John if he met him. But President Obama would probably want to play basketball with Sam and George Clooney together. And then Sam would get to hang out with George Clooney in his villa in Italy. That seems like something Sam should be doing, hanging out with Obama and George Clooney. Well, John would probably be sitting on a big mound of gold, hiding it from dwarves. I don't know much about pod racing, but I know what I like. Okay, well, that was Bud the Wiser.
Wow.
John, do you have anything to say to these accusations about your pod racing skills?
I mean, here's the thing.
Let's hear the thing.
In terms of the skills that are necessary to create a pod race,
Yes.
there are sort of 3 categories it falls into. Sam, you know this.
Yes, there's the turn, the trick, and then the prestige. And you gotta have the prestige.
Exactly.
And it was in front of you the whole time.
Sam knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah, the trick, the turn, and the prestige.
So the trick
Yes.
of the pod race
Is you show them something.
exactly.
And then the turn is when you twist it. And they think it's gone, mate. And that's when the prestige happens. The size of a tangerine.
Exactly. And in this circumstance,
Yes.
we use the mother of the pod racer.
Yes.
Her name is Lady Anakin.
Should I just get to the third one?
Go for it.
Okay. Morton's Salt. The Morton Salt Twitter account. Mm-hmm. The whole Salt Empire. They have a sort of a salt thing going on.
They really...
Let me get to this fan mail.
Go for it.
Hey guys, I'm a salt company, and I know what I like. I like things seasoned, salted, and funny. And they spell all three of those with K's. And
That's right.
I have a big problem with the pod race.
What?
And that is that I love it too much, and it's clogging my arteries. Just kidding, that's a little salt humor. Ha ha ha. I think that the pod race is great. I've been listening for 6 weeks, and I'm such a huge fan. This Sam guy seems like he's really cool, and he would probably be good friends with Obama. Obama would probably give him a high five. Now, John, on the other hand, this guy's more pepper than salt, if you know what I mean. I hate him. He stinks. He's a big butt that talks poop out of his mouth. He's 3 butts, and they're all poop in different colors. Some brown, some green, heck, a little red in there too. John's a big butt, and Sam should hang out with Obama. Seriously. And George Clooney. Sam should be in the Ocean's 11. He should be one of the 11. Not one of the 12, not one of the original 11. He should be the Carl Reiner one. He's an old rich guy, and he hangs out with the young people, and he does a character. Sam should be Carl Reiner. Sam's children should be Rob Reiner. Sam should have a successful family. I love you. I love Sam. I hate John. I'm a salt company. Sincerely, Morton Salt. Okay, all right. Well, that was Morton Salt, I guess.
Wow, Morton Salt's ad seemed really mean.
It was a little... And it's a weird coincidence that all these fan letters are, well, I mean, one of the common things here is they seem to be taking sort of, I don't want to say a negative stance towards you, but they hate you.
They're very personal.
Yeah. And a lot of them seem to feel like I have a sort of like a cool attitude or something. I like should hang out with President Obama and maybe like play basketball with him and like maybe hang out at George Clooney's villa and be one of the Ocean's 11. I don't know. I think it's weird.
That seems weird.
It's weird, right?
Right.
It's weird, right?
For sure.
It's weird, right?
It's weird.
Okay, and now let's cut to one of our sponsors. All right. Cool.
Hey, my name is Steve. I need money for ads.
And my name is Larry, and I'm a crack addict. The great thing about crack is it makes you feel real good. But you know what else feels good? Doing a lot of crack. So that's why I listen to Podracers, the supporter of crack, and also for Morton Salt. And hey, crack and salt. They look similar, but they're not. But you do crack, and then you put salt in some French fries, and it's good. So buy some crack and buy some salt. And do a whole bunch of just, loving yourself. Have a good time. Treat yourself some crack and salt. It's a drug, and it's also another drug if you catch my drift. Crack and salt. The Crack and Salt Company. We're drug addicts, and we like to put salt on stuff. Crack and salt, crack and salt. We're gonna do crack and eat things with salt. We're gonna smoke crack and put things with salt. Alright, so that was an ad, I guess. From a crack cocaine company that we...
I was just about to ask you.
But they all... Yeah, I've been selling ad space to just anyone who'll buy it. And I think a crack cocaine company, and I think they also have a salt manufacturing plant somewhere in Indonesia? Maybe? I don't know. I don't know. I'll actually have to read this copy, so maybe it'll make more sense.
Please.
Hey, friends, do you like to be high? Sure you do. Do you also like things that have salt on them? I bet you do.
Those are two true things.
Let me just read this.
I'm sorry.
Get through this. So why don't you smoke some crack and also just put some salt on some stuff? I bet you want to do that, right? Sounds pretty good. Well, here's a convenient way for you to do both. At this crack and salt company, hey, it sounds silly, but do some crack, and then also salt. And we're not being like, dickish, like we're trying to kill you because we're going to clog your arteries and then kill you with crack. We genuinely think this is a good idea because it's two things people want. And we're not being like political by saying that crack is like salt or salt is like crack. We're just literally just trying to give you what you want. It's a company. We're trying to make money. Crack and salt. Two things that are good if you want to do crack and eat salt. All right, so that was an awkwardly written bit of copy, but that's how they send it to us, and hey, they're paying the bills, right? They're keeping the lights on, am I right?
You would think that the people who pay us to keep going
Yeah.
would be better at words.
You would, I don't know, but like a company that sells crack and salt?
That's a good point.
I wonder if they're on the market. Do you think they're on like the Dow? Do you think they're on the Dow?
Probably.
The Dow Jones?
They are Down Jones.
Down Syndrome Jones.
Downs Syndrome Jones.
All right, back to Watergate. I'm Cronkite Nixon. I'm a robot of two dead men. I'm Walter Cronkite. I'm Richard Nixon. I cried when JF Kennedy died. I also did Watergate. John, how are you feeling?
I am feeling okay. The main thing I feel about Watergate.
John, what are your feelings about Watergate? And I'm not talking about you spilling water everywhere. I'm talking about the Watergate thing from the 70s. The Nixon thing.
You mean where the...
You've been hiccuping for 33 minutes.
Thank you. You mean where the committee to re-elect Nixon, Creep, that's the literal name of the committee to re-elect President Nixon.
Hey, Podracers, you learn something new every pod race.
That's right.
Something boring and pointless and it's completely unlistenable every podcast. Race! Pod race! Alright, let's just cut to another commercial. Hi, do you like to wear t-shirts? Well, now they're also hats. Hey, ever want to wear a hat but you only have a t-shirt lying around? Well, now you got two in one, because it's a t-shirt that's also a hat. Hey, Jimmy, how you doing over there? I'm alright. I just wish... Oh, jeez. Well, what is it? I don't know. I just really wanted to wear a hat right now, and I only got this t-shirt. Well, at the T-Shirt Hat Company, a t-shirt is a hat. Oh, jeez. You mean it, mister? That's right, Jimmy. Your t-shirt's now a hat. Put it on your head, and also wear it on your body. It's a t-shirt hat, t-shirt hat, t-shirt hat. Get up to bat, you're wearing a t-shirt with a hat. Jeez, now I got a hat on my head and a t-shirt on my body. That's right, Jimmy, you sure do. And you're looking fly. Thanks, mister. Who are you, by the way? I'm the devil. I'm Satan. I'm killed your parents, and I'm gonna rape your body. Okay, you're scaring me. Why are you grabbing my arm? You just gotta deal with the devil, Jimmy.
Man.
Alright, so that was the end of that. So that was a weird ad.
That was weird.
It was weird that the devil ended up, like, maybe raping that boy.
We're good pod racers.
Should I tell any stories of the time I was a craft services guy and a very funny person I idolized was so mean to me the entire time?
Sam.
What?
If you are talking...
Don't say the name. Do not say the name.
I was not going to say the name. I was going to say...
Don't say the name.
Billy!
It's not Billy Crystal.
It was his brother, though.
No, it wasn't Silly Crystal.
It was... It was Hilly Crystal, the guy who led...
Does saying Hilly Crystal add to my Silly Crystal?
No, it doesn't.
If anything, does it take away from it?
Sam.
It's almost like a part 3 that ruins a part 2. Like, say, for example, you made a movie called Batman Begins. I don't know. Mm-hmm. And then you made an amazing movie called The Dark Knight. And then you make, like, a shitty, dumb movie called, I don't know, The Dark Knight Rises. Like, if that ever would happen in history of time. That's sort of like what you just did.
That's a good point.
You made a trilogy out of my thing, the original was Billy, the sequel was Silly, and then you went with Hilly.
Alright, so let's
Which, John, I gotta say, was almost like trapping all of Gotham's police in a tunnel, if that would ever happen in the movie, because that would just make no sense.
Oh my god, Sam.
John is currently flipping me off. Should I tell that story of how one of my comedic icons was mean to me and yelled at me for making him a sandwich not the right way?
You should do that, but I'm going to be flipping you off the whole time.
Podracers.
Okay.
I'm not going to tell that story.
Great.
Until next week.
Listen,
That's how we get the Podracers. We drop names and do some stuff and dance and have so much fun. I'm 3 babies in a trench coat. I'm 3 babies in a trench coat. I'm 3 babies in a trench coat. 3 babies in a trench coat. 3 babies a trench coat. 3 babies. Okay. Pod Racers, I have a tale or two to tell.
Racers.
And I want to tell them. I feel like maybe we'll do 10 of these pod races and then kill ourselves. But, Probably. But before it ends, before this mini-series, this bloody tale of revenge ends, we're going to tell some fun stories. But
Sam,
I think that's going to have to wait for next week. Unless we have a special guest next week, which we might. Okay, so hey, the point is, maybe we'll tell fucking stories next week. Maybe we'll never tell them. Maybe I'm just making this up, but I'm not. And I'm not. Okay, so I want to just say we're wrapping it up now.
For now.
For now. This chapter is closed. I just want to say thank you for listening.
I love you.
This was a weird one.
Yeah,
maybe not our best.
No.
Maybe our worst.
No.
No? Maybe not great.
No, the first episode was our worst.
Well, maybe they're all bad and we're just doing...
That is a completely fair analysis.
Hey, it's all fun and games until...
Someone loses a dildo.
It's all fun and games until somebody spends 2 hours editing a podcast and spends money to put it on iTunes. All fun and games until then.
Hey!
Yeah?
I love you.
Do I owe you money?
No, you don't.
I might.
Well, you do, but like...
Well, you keep track of that, because I'm not gonna. That's the rule. If I owe you money, you tell me. What am I supposed to do? No,
you owe me like $10. Fuck it.
All right, I'll pay you back in greenery, if you know what I mean.
He needs a shrubbery.
I mean money.
We are the knights who say knee.
What is that?
Have you heard of this like group of British guys?
Called the Doors?
They were called the Doors.
Was Jim Morrison British? Or just pompous?
No, he was from Los Angeles and he sucked.
British or pompous? The new segment.
Actually...
or both. Could be both.
He was both.
You could be British and pompous.
No, he was from L.A. and he was pompous.
He was just pompous.
Yeah. Then he died at Barney's Beanery or some nonsense.
What? On the Santa Monica Promenade?
No.
No, he died in France.
He died in France.
Just like all those soldiers.
You're right. He died like all those soldiers in France.
He died on D-Day.
Janis Joplin died at Barney's Beanery.
In Los Angeles.
In WeHo. She went to Barney's Beanery.
Didn't she choke on her own vomit?
Yep.
No, she choked on Jimi Hendrix's vomit.
No, I didn't think it was...
Well, this has been the worst podcast in the history of time. You've listened to it. You're going to die one day. You're going to be dead for eternity. You're going to be nothing
you spend your time listening to these assholes talk
for eternity. You're going to be nothing. Think about your loved ones. You're going to only know them for maybe 80 years tops if you're lucky, and then for eternity you're going to be nothing. So essentially you're just going to know your loved ones for a blip. And then for eternity you won't know them, so they're not that important to you. But you did spend all this time listening to a couple of butt heads. And instead of hanging out with your loved ones, think about it. For that precious amount of time you're going to be alive, you spend it doing this instead of hanging out with somebody you truly cherish. But maybe we're your loved ones. We're not. We're bad podcast hosts. Pod race hosts. I don't even know my own gimmick.
Sam.
I'm a bum. I'm a snow. I'm just a bastard. God,
Game of Thrones. What that means.
Game of Thrones was so good tonight.
Was it?
Oh, it was so good. Oh, it was crazy good. It was the best episode of the season. Maybe one of the best episodes ever.
We'll talk about this.
On Game of
Game of podcasts.
Podcast of Thrones.
We'll talk about this on Game of Thrones.
No even pun. Just Podcast of Thrones.
Podcast of Thrones.
There.
You, me, and Robert Pollard from
Game of Podcasts. Game Podcast Thrones. Okay. I am now going to close this book, if you will, as you were,
all right.
Aloysius and the Seven Thieves, on another good pod race. I think we did good.
We did.
And click, it's over. Okay, so I think we did good. Hey, man.
Yeah.
Hey. Oh, what? I didn't turn it off. Hey, we're still having a casual conversation. You know how podcasts do. All right. John, say the catchphrase.
I'm a Tridarian. You're Jedi mind tricks on me.
I hate our catchphrase. No. This is the... This is the song that ends the show. We had such fun, but we must go. If we meet in another life, perhaps I'll take you as my wife. Lights out, Alice. Good night. Okay. Hey, Podracers. You thought we were done, and we came back for more. This is a retrospective. The next day. Porky's 2, the day after, if you will. John.
Yes.
Last night we recorded that pod race, and this morning or today, later in the day, you just heard it. You didn't remember any of it.
I didn't remember any of that.
So what? How was it to listen to all that nonsense?
Amazing. It was truly like watching two Mozarts. Mm-hmm. Mozart.
Making just as much sense now as you were last night. Were you
know,
happy with your pod racing?
No, not at all. That was horrible.
Not your finest hour?
I don't think so.
Let's talk about the aftermath.
Oh, please.
So, after we finished recording last night, what happened with you?
Well, I think I went to bed.
Okay.
Because that's the next thing I remember. Is waking up at around 2 in the morning, running to the bathroom, and vomiting. Mm-hmm. Like a lot.
Threw up a lot.
I did.
Did you go to work today?
I did go to work today.
And how was that?
That was unpleasant.
What happened?
I got to work. Everything was shaky, and my stomach was bothering me. But the only thing I had to do today was, like, timestamp a bunch of videos. And that's, like, just a real simple click type job. I wasn't like uber concerned about it. And then all of a sudden, a burp rose up in my throat. Except that it wasn't a burp, and I had just enough time to grab my garbage can and catch all of the throw up.
You threw up at work?
Yep.
At your desk?
At my desk. Like a character from Parks and Recreation.
Like a woman realizing she's pregnant.
Yep.
Are you pregnant?
God, I hope not, because I drank a lot.
How many times did you throw up at work?
3 times.
So you threw up 3 times at work, and how many times did you throw up here?
Like 5.
So you threw up about 8 times after that pod race. Okay. Any final thoughts about drinking, about your lifestyle, about anything for the kids?
Kids, don't drink.
Don't drink. And also, enough with all these guns.
Yeah.
I don't want to get shot. I do not want to get shot. I really don't want to randomly get shot by somebody.
You know, I
Life
was
is so short.
afraid this was an unpopular opinion, but yeah, I also don't want to get shot.
I don't want my entire life to end because some asshole's having a bad day.
Yeah.
I don't want that to happen. I don't want my entire life to be over because some guy's like, I'm in a bad mood. I don't like the airport. Like, I don't want that to happen. I really don't want that to happen.
So, Podracers?
Don't shoot me!
Don't shoot Sam.
Alright, goodbye.
Goodbye.